We are in the midst of a trade war. There's a lot of uncertainty out there. Trump has brought in these tariffs, 25% general, 10% energy, that have been kind of paused for a little bit. But then we have steel and aluminum tariffs. He's talked about reciprocal tariffs. So tariffs are essentially a tax. In the case of the US tariffs, it'd be a 25% tax that the importer pays. Now, they have a choice. They can pass that on to the consumer in the form of higher prices. They can eat some of it, so reduce their profit margins, or they can reduce their purchases from Canada. And that's where it hits the Canadian economy. So if there's weaker demand for what we sell, then that hurts our exporters. And then they have to make difficult choices about what to do with that. It shrinks their profits, and maybe they make difficult staffing decisions where they lay off staff. And that's where we see the real impacts of these tariffs. And our view is this, that even if the tariffs come off for a month at a time, it doesn't really change anything. We're not returning to business as usual because it's really tough for businesses to make major investment decisions in the current environment. So if this continues, we see the Alberta economy slowing to a crawl over the next 2 years. Sectors like forestry that are already facing softwood lumber tariffs will be impacted, livestock producers, oil and gas. It's really hard to find an industry that won't be impacted one way or another from these tariffs. Now, there is a glimmer of hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and there's some offsetting factors. First of all, we think the Bank of Canada will be cutting interest rates quite aggressively if this trade war continues. We think there was fiscal stimulus coming for workers and to businesses impacted by these tariffs. And third, longer term, we think that there's an appetite to move on things like interprovincial trade barriers, getting major projects built, and accessing overseas markets and building the infrastructure to get to Asia and other markets outside the US. So I think the next couple of years are going to be rocky. Businesses are going to have to navigate this uncertainty, but there are a lot of things going in Alberta's favor. Lots of resources, a skilled, young population, and some momentum we had heading into this tariff war.